Hello there, welcome to the channel, Loving Life on Less. My name is Liz, my husband's name is David, and we discuss all things money saving, frugal living, loving life on that bit less. Today is one of our videos which is a blast from the past. Again, we're going back to World War II and the make, do and mend era. When the government issued lots of leaflets, instruction leaflets during World War II, it was to guide people on how to make the most of what they had. The plentiful resources and access to the resources we have today was just unheard of during the World War II period. People were rationed and limited to the new clothes and fabrics they could have. So it's really important to learn how to repair, upcycle, and reuse any fabric you had access to. Here is information from a collection of leaflets that were issued during the Second World War to help people, especially women, make the most of all the fabric, all the clothing, and all the upholstery that they had. How to look after man-made fabrics. Nowadays, our clothes must last longer. We must make, do and mend. Washing and ironing play an important role in part of the lives of all these fabrics. Rayon, for instance, can be washed time and time again, and very simply too. This is because it only soils on the surface, with the result that rayon fabrics or garments or stockings can be quickly and easily restored to their original freshness and loveliness. Washing. Use warm water and see that the soap is thoroughly dissolved and whisked into a lather before you put the item into the water. Dip and squeeze thoroughly in the suds without rubbing or wringing. The dirt will easily come off. Rinse 2 or 3 times, again without wringing or twisting, in order to remove all the traces of soap. And after the final rinsing, gently squeeze the material and then roll in a towel to dry off the excess moisture. The items can then be hung to dry, and see that the garment is opened out in order to distribute the wet weight and to avoid uneven drying. Tip: wash rayon stockings daily. Dry thoroughly, but don't iron. Rinse a new pair before wearing for the first time for extra give. Ironing. Before ironing a man-made fabric, pull the garment gently into shape. Use a warm and never a hot iron. The correct temperature can be tested by standing the iron on a newspaper for 15 to 20 seconds. If the paper scorches, the iron will be too hot for your rayon fabric. Rayon should be ironed on the wrong side and only one thickness at a time, taking care not to press buttons or fastenings into the fabric, which will mark the fabric. Seams should be pressed thoroughly dry, or they may contract and spoil the shape of the garment. When mending a man-made fabric, never patch old material with new if you can help it. If you do use new, however, wash the patch piece first. Cut out all the parts of the worn fabric and keep them for patching. If a garment splits at the seam, don't just try sewing up the seam again. This will make the garment too tight. It has probably split from being too tight in the first place. Put a small patch down the seam instead. A scrap of material is a good thing for this. Mend over any hole or thin piece as soon as it appears. Very large holes in the foot of a stocking should be patched rather than darned. Use a piece of old stocking, lay it on the wrong side of the stocking, that is to be mended, and use the herringbone stitch down both sides. When you have to make do with rayon fabrics and man-made fabrics, the tops of night dresses will usually wear out first, so cut down the skirt parts and use them as slips or knickers. Cami knickers that have gone at the top can be cut down and be made into smaller knickers. A slip can also be made into cami knickers. Pyjama legs that are old can make perfect children's vests, and washing silk dresses can be made into pyjamas for children. Quite small scraps of material left over from worn slips and knickers can be used and made into a brassiere. Use an old, well-fitting brassiere for a pattern. Freshening up tactics on clothes that are looking old. Knickers renewed. One good pair can be made from two old pairs of knickers, and here's how to manage it. It's usually the gusset that's worn, so cut a new gusset from the good side of one pair and take the old gusset out of the second pair. Then stitch the knickers together. A decorative elbow patch is a great way of making a new frock. To make a really good job of patching a frock that's worn at the elbow, you need enough material for two V-shaped strips, one for each sleeve. This material can contrast rather than match. It will look extra dazzling. The actual hole underneath should be darned before the patch is put on. To keep pace with a growing girl, last year's frock can be enlarged by unpicking the skirt from the yoke, dropping it to waist level and inserting a contrasting band to make the lower part of the bodice. Use bands of the same colour to enlarge the sleeves. The frock may still be a little tight across the chest. Insert a contrasting band from the waistline to the neckline. Give an old coat a fresh start. A shabby full-length coat can be smartened up and made more fashionable by cutting it to the new hip length and using the extra material to make a new collar and cuffs if necessary. And big patch pockets can hide worn spots. To give a jumper a new life. When the sleeves of your jumper begin to show signs of wear at the elbows, take them out and change them left over to right or right over to left. Then they'll last much longer. Beware the moth grub, it does damage. Wash or clean before putting away any woolen clothes, blankets or eiderdowns. But if you are putting them on the shelf for some time, wrap them in newspaper to deter the moth grub. Air stored items in the sunshine often, frequently and thoroughly. This is a great safeguard. Moths hate being disturbed and you can keep them away by hanging out clothes at least once a month. Choose a fine sunny day, brush everything well and hang in the open air. Heavy things can be beaten gently. Turn out the pockets and look in every fold for eggs or grubs. Press the garment with a hot iron over a damp cloth to steam the material. This will penetrate the material and kill any grubs. Deft Darns by Mrs. So-and-so. Neat darns, done in good time, can make things last without making them look shabby. Here are some hints on everyday darns and how to set them about. Some general rules too, for repairs that pay. The do's and don'ts of darning. Do darn on the wrong side directly when a thin piece appears. Tack a piece of net on a large hole and darn across it for extra strength. Darn well beyond the weak place. Leave loops at the turns to allow for shrinking. Settle yourself comfortably in good light before you start. Don't wait for a hole to develop. Make straight edges to your darns. A little irregularity distributes the strain. Don't pull the thread taut or it will pucker. And don't expect to make a success of a job by using hit or miss methods. And as you can see in the pictures, here are some of the diagrams that are on the leaflets that show you how to, first of all, darn a hole, to darn knitted fabric, to repair torn buttonholes, to darn a stocking ladder, and even how to darn a tear in your fabric. Very skillful to learn how to do this, but once you've learnt these skills, you can repair just about any clothing, upholstery, fabric, and make, do, and mend. How to reinforce for extra wear. Reinforcing is strengthening a new garment at places where you know the wear will be greatest. It is always done on the wrong side and it should not show on the right side if neatly sewn. Use hemming for most work, but herringbone stitch should be used on woven fabrics and flannel when the edges are left raw. Tape or bias binding will be found useful for strengthening seams. Reinforcing elbows and knees, etc. Insert an extra piece of cloth inside. Keep it in position by hemming opposite sides. It should be slightly tighter than the section it protects. Linings. Linings can easily be strengthened as they can be partly removed while being sewn. And when patching a shirt, shirts are easy to mend as the patches can be cut from other parts of the garments. They can be replaced by similar material cut from discarded shirts or soft cotton. When the cuffs start to fray, they should be carefully unpicked and reversed as they are double. The worn edge will be inside the fold. If you are using new fabric for patching, it should be washed first. The ingenuity of these leaflets and the people that learned how to make, do and mend and improve their skills is phenomenal. Even one of the leaflets is how to make easy slippers for the whole family and the full instructions on how to make these slippers. It was a time of few resources but maximum resourcefulness. We can learn so much in our quest to live frugally, happily, and waste nothing. Thanks for watching the video today. If you like the content, please give us a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more of our videos, please subscribe, and we'll be back again really soon with another video. Wherever you are in the world, we hope you have a truly lovely day. Bye for now.